Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're logging in. First of all, I would like to sincerely apologize for our technical glitch which happened for the previous session. But nonetheless, so far so good. We have logged in again. And thank you, Mr. Vighnesh, for coming back with us and for just trying to cope up with all the technical glitches. So thank you for that. Before I give it over to Amit to introduce you and we go ahead with the Q&A, I would like to speak a little bit about GALF and give a brief about GALF. So GALF is a wellness aggregator which is based in Mumbai with pan-India presence and global interventions. We provide corporate wellness ecosystems through our web app, mobile app, and especially customized holistic interventions. Holistic interventions with us, we cover physical, mental, emotional, environmental, nutritional, financial, all these aspects together. GALF caters to various corporate industries and clients through varied industries, where we put utmost importance to holistic wellness. So, with that brief introduction about GALF, Amit, I would like to hand it over to you to introduce our esteemed speaker of today. I'm really excited for this one.
But thank you, Neha. Thank you for a very, very brief introduction about GALF, and absolutely delighted. And it's my personal privilege to be welcoming Vighnesh to the section today. Vighnesh is the Managing Director and Chief Executive of IDBI Federal Life Insurance, one of the leading life insurance service providers in the country. Having read more and more about Vighnesh, I think you can only feel more of him, given the fact that where he started as one of the Ranji Trophy players in Mumbai, how he kind of really worked hard his way up to the CEO position. I'm sure there's a lot of learnings, messages, takeaways that people are going to have today from this session, both the employees of IDBI Federal Life Insurance and the members of GALF. So welcome aboard, Vighnesh, and again, a very humble apology from my side for the technical glitch today.
No worries, Amit.
So welcome aboard, Vighnesh. We would love to have an introduction in your own words about about yourself, how your journey has been from where you started and to one of the leading chief executives in the country today.
Oh, thanks, Amit, and forget the glitch. Technology has a way of surprising you, as I always say. But to come straight to the show, I think my life so far at least can be divided into two halves, two buckets. Before cricket, which is BC, and after cricket. Now, before cricket and the time I was playing cricket, and that was till the age of 22, from the age of 14 to 22, I can promise you that every waking moment was spent in trying to become a better cricketer. What I ate, how much I slept, how much I worked out, how much I trained, how much I practiced, what kind of intake I had. Every step, every second was to take me closer to my dream of playing for the country. Now, along the way, I played age group tournaments for Bombay, under 15, under 17, and 19. I represented Bombay University for 2 years. I also played India under 19. And the pinnacle was 2 years of Ranji Trophy for Bombay. Being selected for Bombay in those days was quite an honor. And that was the pinnacle of my success. And the third year I played for Rajasthan. After which I decided to call it a day, call it quits, hang my boots. And nothing romantic about it. No politics, no order form, no bad luck, no drop catches. Plain and simple reason, I wasn't good enough to play the next level. That was simple. The writing was on the wall. I had to swallow the bitter pill that I was good enough to play for Bombay, a few games for Bombay, but never good enough to play for India. And that is when I realized that is the first time actually I realized that not having too many options in life is actually the best option. I had to call it a day, hang my boots, and I had no option but to fall back on academics and studies. So I quickly sprayed hard, studied harder, and appeared for the CWT exam. And by God's grace and by a lot of luck, I got into one of the premier business institutes, Narsimha Manju Institute of Management Studies. And my corporate journey started from there. Along the way, along the last 23 years, I worked for companies like ANZ Greenlace Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, Mashreq Bank, and now IDBI Federal Bank, IDBI Federal Life Insurance. So it's although the decision was tough, and cricket was, when I look back, I think it's been the best time of my life because I made some long-lasting, enduring friendships. I had unbelievable life experiences. I could travel the world and India to play cricket. I would not have afforded to travel to some countries if I was not playing cricket. And even today, one of the first things I told my company when I took over as CEO was, I'm going to lead you like a sports team. That means meritocracy, quick decision-making, transparency, and most importantly, team spirit. So I try to get these four things to the fore. And I tell my team, and sports has taught me this, never let success go to your head and never let failure go to your heart. So this is what I tell my team all the time. Just move, keep moving. And that's the mantra of IDBI Federal, keep moving. So I just said, you just need to keep moving ahead. And I can say, Amit, confidently and with complete surety that, although I've been to a good business school and I've worked in some good companies, I've learned more on the cricket field than I've learned in any boardroom or classroom. I can definitely say that.
So I think, Vighnesh, you almost rattled out the traits that you possibly wanted to pass on to your team being a sports person. And you did kind of start with meritocracy, and you kind of, narrated very well that don't take, success to your head and failure to your heart. Given my today's experience, I think there are two things that you definitely have passed on, at least to me, and I'm sure that is to most of your team members day in, day out. One is humility, and second is how to respond to crisis. I think the real mettle of the leaders get tested in crisis. For me, it was like, I was really looking forward to this session. I'm sure Karthik will probably vouch for it, how much I was so eager to start this session today. And then suddenly everything, hell broke over when one of the best things that we set up in the morning today kind of did not work. But the humility and the sensitivity and the warmth with which you kind of dealt with it, I think shows a lot about you as a leader. So thank you so much. Definitely something that I took away myself, and I'm sure a lot of your team members do take on.
There's another thing that sports has taught me. A lot of times these HR consultants come and tell me that, your organization has a 70% employee engagement rate, and that's top quartile, that's the best place to work. And I laugh at myself and I chuckle and I say that 70% engagement rate is like 3 people out of 11 of the cricket team not interested in winning. I don't think any cricket team can win with 3 people not interested at all. Only 7 people entering the Maidan who are interested. So we aim for 100% engagement. We
True.
want every employee to come to his desk in the morning wanting to win. And that's what will take us forward.
Lovely. Excellent. That's real good power punch of a point that I will definitely pick up in the questions going forward. But before that, I think you kind of, yourself, when you were kind of introducing about your career in banks and insurance, you kind of, gently moved over to that IDBI bank. So a lot of people do kind of want to know, how are these two entities positioned? There's an IDBI bank and there's IDBI Federal Life Insurance. Is there any kind of amalgamation at a strategic level, or there is kind of correspondence between the leadership teams, or how kind of different they are from an arm's length perspective? Everyone would like to probably know that.
So IDBI Bank is a shareholder of IDBI Federal Life Insurance. The other two shareholders are Federal Bank, which is a Kochi-based bank, and Aegis, which is a Belgian insurance company. So IDBI Bank is not only our primary shareholder, but also has been our dominant distributor. So IDBI Bank has had a large role to play in the success of IDBI Federal, and I have no doubts about that. So our senior level management does talk at a strategic level, at a top level, once probably a month. We have steerco meeting on how to take the insurance business forward. But they're pretty much a bank, and we're an insurance company. They are our distributors, and they are creating great value for us as distributors. So no doubt about that. But that's where it is.
Thank you for narrating that, because I think people always wanted to know how they are connected both at a strategic level and a brand level. Now, coming back to the particular point that you mentioned about the engagement rate of 70% being good, it's something that HR consultants talk about. You really want to go gung-ho with 100% engagement, and you really want to have that kind of a punchy attitude in your team members also, that they give their best shot every time they log in into the workstation, either from home or at the office. Now, I realized that when I was going through your career journey, and the time when you joined IDBI Federal Life Insurance, and from where you have made it to one of the most sought after life insurance player in the country. There is one specific thing that I noted about this organization, right? There was this kind of an era where insurance, particularly life insurance, were all about, infested mindset, or kind of driving that kind of a mindset of fear and risk. There were always people, the picture of someone who has died in the family and kind of hanging in the background, and advertisements around it, and they kind of trying to drive down that kind of message that, hey, this could happen to you, why don't you take insurance? What would happen to you next in the kin, and so on and so forth. And there come you, and you kind of drive that message through IDBI Federal Life Insurance, that it is not just about a fear or a risk of dying, but it is also about living the life. It is about us being your partners to life. So how difficult was it to bring this kind of a mindset change, both at your organization level and at an industry level? Because this was a step change in the way the brand was being positioned, and the industry saw something happening in life insurance space.
Yeah, so Amit, to answer your question in two parts. The first part was there's a little bit of an interesting story, and just indulge me for a couple of minutes. When I took over as CEO of this organization about 7 years back, it was, I think, probably the best kept secret in India. People knew IDBI Bank, people knew Federal Bank, but people didn't know of IDBI Federal Life Insurance. The penny actually dropped when my dad introduced me to his friend as, my son works for IDBI Bank. And that's when I realized that now is the time we have to do something about the visibility of this bank. Now, like you very rightly said, insurance for all these years with all these players has been propagated on the platform of uncertainty, failure, risk, death, uncertainty. And so we had two options on this visibility journey. Either we fight the big players in the deep pockets on this plank, or we flank them. We say insurance is, we all know it's a very morbid product. It's about death, uncertainty, failure, risk. But insurance is also about health, fitness, well-being, sport. Let's talk about that. Let's give it a positive twist. And that's the other time in my life I realized that not having too many options is actually the best option, because we didn't have deep pockets. We could not come out with expensive television ads and TV commercials and hoardings and print ads. We had limited budgets, and we had to get the maximum bang from this limited budgets we had. And then we thought about various things like painting, quiz contests, singing contests, sports came to our mind, and then we zeroed in on sports. And in sports, there were only two options. One is cricket, because of its popularity in India, and marathons is gaining a lot of popularity in the country thanks to the Tata Marathon. More people were running more races every year in lesser times. Fitness awareness, and most importantly, I think running is an economical sport. All you need is a pair of good shoes and socks and the road ahead, and your journey to fitness can start. So we zeroed in on running and marathons. And we were so naive at that time. We said we'll do running, we'll do marathon, we create our brand through marathon. And then the next day I realized that every city has 12 marathons and Bombay has 15.
True.
And I said, now what do we do? And then walks in Sachin Tendulkar. And I happen to know him through my cricketing days. And he became the face of the marathon. And once he became the face of the marathon, and today he's a brand ambassador, he took it to a different level. I mean, there's no bigger, better person in India to talk about fitness than Sachin. He's played Test cricket for more than 20 years, and that requires a great deal of fitness.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've got tired working for 20 years, sitting at my desk for 20 years. I want to hang my boots. But he's played for India for 20 years. So, and then we just got bigger and better. And to answer your second question, there were some murmurs of discontent amongst my team, and they thought that this philosophy wouldn't work, and it was a contrarian philosophy. But that's the advantage of being the CEO. You just lump it down their throat. So nobody was vocal about it. So I just lumped it down their throat. I said, this is what we have to do, and I don't care. So although there were probably discontented murmurs and reluctance, my team adopted this new philosophy. And once they adopted it, full credit to them. They executed it from 2014 to today brilliantly. I think Karthik Raman was our chief marketing officer. You know him. I think he and his team have done a wonderful job in executing the marathon and making this property bigger and better with more attendance, a better quality of run every year, and in all 4 cities. So, and to answer your third question of organization, honestly, Amit, I was too absorbed and obsessed with making our marathon bigger and better to care about what competition or industry thought. I didn't care about I just knew what we were doing is right. I didn't care what the others were saying. And today, when I see a lot of insurance companies jumping onto the bandwagon, we are vindicated.
True. Well, in fact, they're kind of following trail is the more appropriate word. And I don't think so. They possibly still have the thought process clear.
No, absolutely. And, tomorrow, who knows, some bigger insurance company with deeper pockets might come and have bigger marathons, but they can do it. But nobody can take away the fact from us that we, IDBI Federal, were the pioneers of this fitness movement amongst the life insurance industry. Nobody can take that away from us, whoever comes in now.
I do want to take a quick moment to appreciate not just your leadership, but also, your whole of the leadership team, including Karthik, who's done a splendid job in terms of creating of this franchise.
Absolutely.
Today, if we talk about, running, IDBI Federal Life Insurance half marathons and running events across the country are arguably one of the biggest running franchise that we have.
Thank you.
And clearly, the whole of the whole set of employees behind this whole exercise, and also who are servicing their clients day in, day out, they're worthy of every appreciation. My question at this moment of time is that, which you humbly brought out yourself, that there may be, other brands who may want to follow trail. Now, from your perspective, while you did clarify that running was the easiest thing that someone can take up to because you just need a pair of shoes. Now, are you considering any other sports or maybe wider wellness arenas, given the fact that COVID-19 has opened to a lot of other aspects like mental wellness, emotional wellness, even financial wellness?
I'll again answer your question in 2 parts. We are definitely not only considering other sports, but we have also explored other sports. I think our first ever marketing venture was sponsoring an inter-school All India football tournament for kids under 13. I think about 1,580 schools and 1,500 kids were playing that tournament. We were then associated with Jeff Thompson, who ran this PACE Academy in Mumbai for 3 years, Karnataka for 2 years, and I think Kerala for 2 years. We are closely associated with Piola Gopichand and his academy badminton academy in Hyderabad. And we started this program called Young Stars, where we want to create the gold medalists for India from this batch in the 28 and 32 Olympics. So we trying to catch them young, investing in them. We also involved closely for the last 3 or 4 years with Dilip Vengsarkar's cricket academy at Mahal, Chembur, and that's thrown up some really good cricketers. We sponsored the West Bengal cricket team for 2 years. We were sponsors. We knew Saurav Ganguly, so we could do that. So plus, the list is endless. These ad hoc sports that we do, one-off sports, one-off sponsorships that we do is endless. So our minds are open. It's not only running. It's good to be known for running because running is the biggest property we have. But anything which creates positivity, well-being, a spirit of hygiene, a spirit of wellness, we are willing to explore that. The second part of your question is about COVID and post-COVID. Now, what's happened is very, very sad and it's unprecedented, and the world faces a crisis, I think, which we all are battling against. And I hope we come out of it quick. But there are 2 positives which I see. One is the awareness for insurance will increase. Probably will be term insurance protection, but the awareness for insurance will increase during this phase and after this phase, and will remain at that level for some time. And very importantly for us, one thing I don't know whether you noticed, Amit, but I have. Every time I'm not on too many social media handles, but whenever I go onto LinkedIn or whenever I see someone's Facebook, I see very clearly the fitness quotient and the fitness awareness of India, of Indians, seems to have increased manifold in the COVID period.
Absolutely.
People are doing ultra marathons at home, walkathons, yoga, weights, gymnastics, families walking together. It's crazy how people are keeping themselves busy. So this fitness awareness is very good, augurs very well for IDBI Federal, because fitness is, sports is our platform. We own it. And I'm quite sure that, we've been speaking about a marathon, but I don't realistically think for the next 10, 12 months, any large mass gathering marathon will be possible with the social distancing norms and what have you. But I think the fitness awareness, and I think we'll have to find ways of reaching out to the customer digitally through different means, reinvent, but it will be on the platform of sport, like I mentioned to earlier, because that's a platform we know very well. The fitness awareness of Indians is increasing in this period. So I think sports is going to be an easy platform to deal with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very well mentioned. I will pick up that particular point about how India's wellness quotient probably, and if I may term that, has certainly kind of gone a notch, a few notches above, because of this COVID thing. That said, our wellness expert Neha is on the call today, as you know, and she's an expert in mental, emotional, and social wellness. So I'm sure she's kind of raring to throw some, some googly questions onto you right now on that, Vighnesh.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you, Amit. Hi, Vighnesh. Vighnesh, coming back to where we are talking about the fitness and physical wellness. Of course, it has picked up in during this COVID period. But again, if I take the mental and emotional wellness, do you think this is going to pick up in today's situation, especially when we know, how the corporates, especially the teams, are facing the challenges to sustain the business, the whole question of, sustaining the business and, for them, not only the business, but whether they'll be able to pay the fees of their kids and, the home rents, everything. So the mental and emotional aspect is being really affected at this time. I myself get, a lot of personal calls from my clients who are having a nervous breakdown. So how do you, manage with your corporate, and how do you think that aspect of mental and emotional wellness will change altogether?
I think, Neha, I think holistic wellness should be focused on even before COVID came. I think there's no point, even before COVID came, I think people had to focus on the emotional, mental, financial, physical, spiritual, social, nutritional. They have to look at it holistically. There's no point in being a very rich, millionaire, successful professional if you have a broken marriage at home, or if you are 20 kgs overweight and a perfect candidate for a cardiac arrest and with a host of other medical ailments. There's really no problem. So I think you have to focus on holistic wellness. And I think what this COVID has done, what this crisis has done, it's just accelerated the process of our awareness of holistic fitness. It's not only how many kilometers you run, but it's also how mentally sharp you are, how good your family relationships are, how good your social skills are. I would add one more, which I add to myself. I've been doing it for many years. I also add the spiritual quotient along with them. So I think that's a complete basket. So I think that's very critical. Coming to post-COVID and COVID, we don't know when post-COVID will be. But I think there's going to be a new world order in place. There's going to be a lot of change. There's going to be a change in the way we travel, the way we work, in the way we socialize, in the way, restaurants, going to restaurants, rock concerts, movie theaters are going to be a no-no. our hygiene habits are going to change.
True.
Our spending habits are going to change. So when so much change falls on you at one time, and man is averse to change, there is going to be a conflict, and there's going to be a stress build up in you. This change might be good for you in the short term and in the medium term, but adapting and adopting to this change is going to create stressful situations at the workplace, at home, and I think to that extent, I think what y'all are doing and the focus should be on holistic fitness and just not on physical or financial. I would also like to say that, just going back is to Amit's last question on the other reason why we thought about physical fitness for insurance is because what better way of insuring yourself than keeping yourself fit? And I don't think there's a better way of insuring yourself or keeping yourself insured than keeping yourself fit in a healthy body. And earlier, insurance was considered to be financial, but I think insurance is also financial and physical. And this is what we urge our customers to be doing all the time. And that is why we have this platform of sport and well-being. And now with this crisis, I think insurance is going to be physical, financial, emotional, spiritual, social, nutritional, environmental, everything. So I don't think any aspect of holistic well-being can be ignored.
Thank you, Vighnesh. And you threw upon some really, really, really good points. Sorry, Neha, if I may take kind of liberty, right? There was a specific point that you mentioned about that what you're seeing is a transition. What you're seeing is a kind of an evolving of a new world order, wherein specifically to adapt to this new world order, probably there will be infusion of stress, maybe in a midterm or longer term, how it will be. I will definitely like to come to you to talk about it in terms of that specific subject, in terms of how at an organization level or how at a larger people level do you see that kind of a change management happening. But there was also something very specific you mentioned about in terms of how possibly in a post-COVID scenario there will be kind of adaptability needed either at a product level, right? You mentioned about more of term insurances. You mentioned about something probably which is going online now. I would like a little bit of a time for so that our audience and probably a lot of members from IDBI kind of feel enriched with that knowledge. What are the specific changes that you possibly envision right now, either in terms of the distribution of the products or the kind of products that may be evolving as we go further, and more at a regulatory level? Given I'm very, very passionate about the insurance industry myself, do you see that there will be certain kind of regulatory changes that may be brought in, wherein today possibly if life insurance discounting is really not possible today, but tomorrow if let's say if a corporate comes for certain kind of life insurance policy and they are able to demonstrate that they have holistic wellness initiatives which have been running all throughout, and there's a conspicuous change that is brought in, would it help in better underwriting or better kind of premium charging to these companies? Sorry, it has got various faces to it, but I really wanted to throw up this whole thought process.
That's a long question, and I'll attempt to answer that. As of now, we're yet grappling with how the first question on everyone's mind is when this lockdown will end and when things will limp back to normalcy. And I say limp back because I believe that things will become completely normal only after vaccination is found. So yes. From this time to that, we have to adapt. There's going to be a new work order in place. I already find work from home is very effective and very productive, and that could be a reality. But coming to insurance products, I think one is you bang on the money when you said the term, the awareness. I mentioned the awareness for insurance, and I will go one step further by saying the awareness for term insurance will increase. People will start consuming a greater amount of term insurance, and because of these social distancing norms and because of these other lockdown norms, digital is the way to go. We have to figure out how we have to reach the customer. Insurance is always an eyeball-to-eyeball sale. And I think the most effective form of selling insurance is eyeball-to-eyeball. But we will have to reinvent and rethink that. And we'll have to accelerate our digital journey and make it absolutely seamless and easy for the customer to sit in the living room and get the policy of his choice. And that is the way the industry is going to go now. And I think the regulator's job of the regulator, coming to your question on the regulators, the primary job of the regulator is to protect the interests of the policyholders and customers. So I think the regulator has been doing a fabulous job in India till now. The IDBI is the regulator for life insurance. I think if the regulator sees any merit, you spoke about various things. If they see any merit in that, if it's going to be beneficial to the customers and it will protect the interests at the same time, I think regulations will also change. Regulations.
I meant to evolve. Yeah.
Every regulation that has come out from the floors of the regulator has been towards making the industry more customer centric. So I think they will do whatever it takes to make the product, and they realize also that there's going to be a new world order. Things are not, it's not going to be like coming back after a 1 month vacation to office. Everything is the same. Your desk is the same. You got a few hundred mail. You come back to office, and it's going to be a different world altogether for everybody.
Yes.
And it's not like you've gone on a 21-day vacation and you come back to office after 21 days. It's like walking into a movie. It's like watching a movie till interval time and then going out to buy popcorn at the interval and coming back and watching another movie. And that's what's going to happen. It's not going to be the same movie continuing.
That's a very good anecdote. Absolutely. And hopefully it will have a lesser amount of suspenses post the interval. Okay. But Neha, over to you. I think there was a specific point I think you were kind of responding to when Vighnesh did mention about the world order changing and kind of the change causing the stress. So I think you were about to raise certain questions in context to that earlier, right?
Yes, I was, because the business part, I will leave it to you guys, because that's definitely not my forte, and I'm more like a student here learning from you both. So thank you so much for all that knowledge. Coming back to the holistic wellness part, Vighnesh, you mentioned spiritual wellness. Well, that is one part in wellness which is very subjective, and people take spirituality as a very different thing. For different people it's different, but for you, what do you define spiritual wellness as?
I think spiritual wellness, like you very rightly mentioned, is a very personal thing, to each his own. But to me, in a nutshell, I would like to say that I surrender to the power. I know there's a power, there's a supreme power. It could be anything, it could be anybody, it could have any face, but I surrender to the power, and that creates less stress on me, because that means I'm not in charge of the day. I don't feel like I'm in charge, and I don't blame myself when things don't go well. I don't get stressed. I just surrender to the power, and I say whatever is right will be done, and it works. But it's a very personal thing. I mean, I would chat with you on this on a one-to-one, but I'm a little reluctant to talk about, because it means different things to different people.
Sure.
Yep.
And we could have a separate conversation on this, but not on this platform.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Okay, talking about wellness again, Vighnesh, what initiatives are you taking in your organization or at the customer level, being the IDBI CEO? What initiatives are you taking, if you can share some of those with us?
Okay, we like I told you, Neha, our journey towards holistic wellness started way before COVID even hit us. IDBI Federal, the first thing we did was working in Bombay is stressful with the travel times, and it leads to stress build up. Everybody travels 3-4 hours to work and back to work. And you need a 5-day week. So we had a 6-day week. A small thing, a small alteration, but I said every Saturday is going to be off, and in Bombay we will have a 5-day week. Then I introduced flexi hours and flexi days, which released some time to the employee. Along with that, once that time was released, we have yoga lessons in office. Wow. We've had Zumba classes. We have inter-department sports events. We have medical tests. We tied up with medical centers for at discounted rates for medical examinations. And more importantly, I must tell you this, Amit and Neha, that we've had close associations, which I mentioned, Gopi Chand and Sachin and Dilip Vengsarkar and Jeff Thompson, and there's a whole host of them. And they all have come to office and addressed our employees. And I must tell you this, that every time and their risk has been basically how to make a champion and the mindset of a champion, and stuff about their life. And after speaking to you all, I think the common denominator has been they have been stressing subliminally on holistic wellness. Every champion you speak to in the sporting arena or any other arena will not speak about just physical fitness, will speak about mental balance, will speak about emotional stability, will speak about a happy family. So we have these people coming, and when the employees hear it from their mouths, they believe in holistic wellness even more.
Yeah.
They believe in holistic because they've heard it and you heard it from the mouth of Philip Vengsarkar and Jeff Thompson and Sachin Tendulkar. So it has to be right.
Yeah, it's far much
more
sorry.
Importantly, just one more thing. We believe that you spend more time in office. One spends more time in office than
True.
at home. So you
True.
have to be happy in office because your mood in office spirals onto your mood at home. If you've had a good day in office, if you're comfortable in office, if you're happy in office, you're a good father, you're a good son, you're a good husband, you're a good friend, and it spirals on to the other parts of your life. So we want to make, one of the other things I said was, we have to make this, thank God it's a Monday place to work. You need to have your best friends in office. You need to be looking forward to come to office on Monday. And that's what I said, that every employee has to be engaged. I don't believe in 70% and 72% engagement and top quartile engagement. Because I know that if a cricket team goes onto the field with 3 players not interested, it can never win any match. So we believe in happiness. Unfortunately, the happiness quotient cannot be measured, but it's a vibe you have. It's a vibe you get. You know when your organization and your teams are happy, and the aim is to keep aspiring to build on this. So we want to create happy environment at work because he spends more time in work than office, and we provide him with all the infrastructure to be happy at work.
So clearly it's sorry, carry on.
Yeah, just taking this forward.
Absolutely.
Listening to you. Sorry, Vighnesh. One quick one. You being a sportsman yourself, and now a leading leader. Have you did this being a sportsman did help you be a leader you are right now?
Absolutely. I said that earlier that whatever I learned on the cricket field is more than any boardroom or classroom has taught me. Whenever I have a difficult situation in office, and we've had quite a few in recent times, I just close my eyes and think about how my best captain on the cricket field would have handled that situation. And when I open my eyes again, I have a sort of solution to it, and I'm feeling in a much better place. So I think cricket has shaped me, although it was a painful period when I left cricket. But I think I mentioned earlier that I made my best friendships. I had the most amazing life experiences. And the biggest thing it taught me was don't take failure to your heart and success to your head. I mean, if you keep that equanimity and that stability and that balance, I think you can just keep moving ahead.
Well, that's what I just wanted to convey to all our viewers, that what he has become out of being a sportsman and now using it so well in his leadership role. Amit.
Thank you, Neha. So, and I was just kind of taking a pause at that moment of time to compliment that, not just at the brand positioning level, clearly more intrinsically at the organization level, there seems to be a step change that you had kind of taken far much, earlier than any of your competitor has, because I've been talking to CEOs across industry, and believe you me, it surprises me that nearly 80% of the companies that I talk to, they're still kind of living with that old mindset of a health and a safety policy and certain kind of abstract employee initiatives. The fact that you have a structured approach to it right now, to a greater extent, is something which really talks about the people vision that you have for your organization. You did specifically talk about, when responding to Neha earlier, that you learned more from the cricket field than probably in any of the boardroom or any of the training programs or any of your qualifications. Now, I would like to dig a little deeper and kindly allow me, because that's more of a personal side of you, but I'm sure you're going to enjoy sharing those stories. But tell us more about any of such particular incident or event that may have happened in your life where you felt absolutely knocked down. I mean, believe you me, Vighnesh, there's so many people, and probably a few of your colleagues also, who must be feeling very knocked down, in this scenario. And what did you do more objectively, to resurface, to re-emerge, to re-evolve, and kind of rebrand and re-energize yourself?
I think in times like these, when you are knocked down, everybody goes through it. Different stages, some more than others. I think hope is a better quality to have than honesty. Hope is the drug that people want at that stage. They don't want honesty. They don't want to hear bad news. You might think you're being honest and being transparent and telling them, but they want hope. So you have to be optimistic. You have to believe that this too shall pass. And you have to hang in there, because another thing that sports has taught me is that in the course of the match, one day, 5-day, T20, the game is changing on its head every time, every over, every second over, every half an hour. And you just have to hang in through the bad phases to enjoy the good phases, because the good phases will follow. It's very critical to not throw in the towel, to hang in there, to slug it out, to cut it out in the tough phases, to really capitalize on the good phases. So a short answer to your question would be hope, a lot of hard work, a lot of prayer, and hang it out, and hang in there and slug it out.
I would still
because
be
after.
Sorry, yeah. I would still like to be a little more indulgent in terms of wanting to know the specific incident that happened in your life when you felt knocked down. I'm sorry, I'm taking the liberty.
Plenty. Especially in the last 3 years I'd worked. I don't talk about it, but because I don't let it absorb me.
Okay.
I conquer it before it conquers me. So I don't like to talk about it, because if I talk about it, negativity will set in again.
Yes.
So I just want to move on. I just want to remember I've had good moments which I would rather think of rather than my morbid moments. But one thing I know, I have a lot of optimism and a lot of hope, and I think that's a magic formula.
Lovely. I mean, the kind of expression you gave literally gave me that feeling of your most authentic self today. So thank you so much for being so candid on that bit.
Pleasure.
Right. So over to one of the most anticipated part of this discussion, which a lot of people look up to, which is about a quick fire round.
Sure.
People want to know the other side of, say, you are clearly, one gem of a human. You are an amazing CEO. I'm sure your leadership team and your employees love you. And at the same moment of time, you have a responsibility towards home, being the best dad, best husband, and best brother, and so on and so forth. But I'm sure there are some very basic things on which you respond to, for example, when this happened, the COVID happened, and everyone said no help at home. Right, and what was one activity that you picked up in the home supporting your wife? You felt this is one thing in the house that I will do.
Can you hear and see me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Were you able to hear the question?
No, you'll have to repeat that, because I think I was knocked off for a while.
Oh, no, it's okay. It's a quick fire round. We were wanting to know that since the time, this COVID started, how you've kind of been helping your wife at home in terms of any of the activity that you would have taken in supporting her.
I think I'm helping her the most by staying away, by staying a mile away. I think, but on a more serious note, I am chipping in with some cleaning, not with cooking, but some cleaning, some dusting, and normally doing stuff which normally the maids that you left it with, like simple things like taking your plate, washing it, wiping the table, simple stuff like that. Nothing cataclysmic.
Vighnesh, this is one part of it that all your employees must be loving hearing, given the fact that they've always seen you in the corner office, C-suite, but they want to know, hey, Vighnesh, kind of cleans his own plate and he kind of brooms and he kind of loving it. So tell us more about, again, in this quick fire, and tell us about the dish that you've really been enjoying, anything specific in food that you've been gorging onto during your COVID times.
I'm not gorging onto any specific food, because if you gorge onto anything, it will run out, and there's a likelihood that you won't get it back. So I'm trying to follow a balanced diet, and keep myself fit and healthy in this time.
Okay. And I see, and probably in the beginning of the discussion, you also mentioned that you love wearing your IDBI t-shirt. So clearly you're donning it. But is there any such attire that you're raring to don? Maybe your cricket attire or running attire the moment the lockdown goes away?
No, I just want to put on my sneakers and go for a long run with my IDBI Federal t-shirt on. Oh,
lovely. Excellent. I'm sure people would love to see you around, and someone like me would like to run along too.
I'm nowhere close to you, Amit, but I can keep pace with you for the first 5 kilometers. That's about it.
I'm sure if there is a 5-kilometer stretch they open, that will be thronged by everyone in the city by now. So I'm sure that there are specific things that people would like to hear. There are a lot of, hundreds and hundreds of the IDBI employees who are kind of following us right now, and I'm sure they're loving it. Is there any specific message that you want to relay to them through this medium? I'm sure there are other conversations or emails that you've been passing on, but is a specific message that you want to leave them with today?
Yeah, the message I wrote them a mail sometime back, and I said this and I'd like to repeat it. That is, work hard, pray harder, and never waste a good crisis.
Wow. That's very powerful.
There's some silver lining which will get thrown, and we have to be physically, mentally fit and sharp to grab it with both hands. Never waste a good crisis.
I'll probably take it as a parting note for me too. Never waste a good crisis. Never ever waste that. History has revealed itself, whether it was 2007, 2008, when Facebook emerged as one of the biggest firms in the world, whether it was about, crisis that happened much before that, which were economic crisis. Few of the best firms that we work with today, the brands that we use today, were the ones which born in the crisis that were there earlier.
Absolutely.
Personally, a huge learning for me today. And I'm sure there are a lot of notes that I've made right now as I was listening to you, Vighnesh. Thank you so much for your time today. Neha,
thanks for having me, Amit. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Vighnesh. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neha. It's been a pleasure.
On that note, Vighnesh, I do want to quickly acknowledge 4 of our brand partners who kind of made it possible working with you, which is Garmin, Fasten Up, Aromica Tea, and Health Track Healthcare. And I also do want to acknowledge all the efforts put in by Karthik Raman in making this happen with you. Thank you so much, Karthik, and thank you so much, Vighnesh.
Yeah, and I would like to thank Karthik Raman and his marketing team on this forum. We've been speaking about the marathons, but I think the true credit for executing these marathons goes to that team. Thank you very much.
Indeed. Thank you.